Howdy, folks. Welcome to another day in the Milky Way. And today is Higher Minds Monday. Hope everybody's having a good Monday thus far. I know here it's been all a dreary day, but we're making the best of it, right? Or at least I am. I know today has been one of those trying days, at least for myself. You see a lot of, I understand people are going through a lot right now, but you're starting to see the ugly side come out of some people, and it's uncalled for. I mean, regardless of what this thing is, if it's real, if it ain't real, most people are missing a point. That don't really matter. What matters is how you react and what you do with it. And anyway, I don't really want to dwell on that too much, so we'll keep it moving. Do a few things I kind of want to cover real quick before we get going. We'll let a few people get in here. First of all, I'd like to thank Mary Wins. And Mary, while I see you in here real quick, I need you to go look at Teespring and pick out a design and send me whatever design you want and what size. Let me know so I can get your t-shirt out to you. So anyway, over the past couple of weeks, I'd sent Queen of Courts an email, and I was telling her, I think this would be a good time. She's got that crystal network going, and I know a lot of people in here in the community stay in touch, whatnot, with all that. But just in case, and I'm not trying to put any fear out there, but I heard them discuss today that with so many people being home, and working from home, there could be internet outages. So just in case that does happen, you might want to exchange phone numbers and addresses and things like that in case we have some internet issues. Like I said, I don't know that that'll happen. It's better to be prepared than not. So, either email me, email your friends, whatever, email Karen at Queen of Courts. And I know she's already got a directory going, which, will help start something. But like I said, regardless, exchange amongst one another, because like I said, I think that would be important, especially if you want to try to stay in touch with some people. So anyway, like I said, not saying it's going to happen, but you never know. What else do I want? Oh, I want to thank Marsha Price. She donated $50. Thank you for keeping the calls going. And she's been so generous. She's sent me oodles and oodles of jewelry and crystals. So I know I'm going to be hopefully I'm going to be getting her on sooner rather than later. But, check her out. She does some amazing jewelry work, things like that. And also, Deborah Tucker does the essential oils in the community. If you need any of the essential oils, check her out. Try to support these local businesses. And, that's another thing going on right now. I know a lot of these restaurants are having to shut down, things like that. And most of them are having to just deal with drive-through. Hey, try to support local businesses as much as possible too. That's very important, believe me. So anything, and then the last thing really I just wanted to talk about, like I said, is just respecting the community. That this is not a time to be belittling one another over your beliefs or whatnot. Show what you're truly made of, and show with unconditional love and compassion. Because like I said, whether it's real or not, it doesn't matter. It's all in how we react to the situation. So let's see what we got with so far, and then I will get it ripping. Judith Nolan, love you, Judith. Good to see you. You're in my memory. Good to see you back. Miss Blanca Lugardo, good to see you. There's Mr. David Castle. I'd like to get him on here sometime. There's Mr. Brian Lunsford, Cosmic Convergence. Miss Delaney, how you doing? Once again, Mary Wins. Deborah Trudeau, good to see you. Johan, what's going on? Lost in Space, good to see you. Rebecca Galactinoff, how you doing? Good to see you, hon. Deborah L. Smith, howdy. Gazcab, what's going on, buddy? We'll have to get you back on here sometime, too. Think Agape Love always and forever. Good to see you. Queen of Courts, there she is. I was just talking about you. Jaway, what's going on, my friend? Who else we got going on? Michelle Cannon Free, what's going on, girl? Lila Star OA, good to see you. Jesse McCartney, welcome. There's Miss Tony Cherie. Trina Phoenix, what's going on? If y'all have any questions or anything tonight, I talked to Trina earlier, just so I don't miss them, try to remind her, but I'm going to stop in between each chapter and, try to take some questions, make it interactive. So we may get to chapter 12, we may not. If not, I'll change that in the title. So Jesse McCartney said her, okay. Lolo in Lakesh Alakin Chavez. How you doing? Miss Bridget Williams, good to see you. I must say, I'm pleased to see quite a few back. Ray of Thoth, 24, welcome back. Ian Barber, Jules M, good to see y'all. Sarah K, Divine Empress. I'm pleasantly surprised. I was wondering, I was like, hey, we'll see how many people come back. So thank you for bearing with me. Like I said, I know most of y'all can read ahead and things like that. And that's why I would like to incorporate questions. I know some of you have read ahead and are kind of awaiting the response of others. So, I haven't read that far ahead, so I'm really pretty much reading it in real time with y'all. Like I said, we'll see how it goes. So if y'all ready, let's get it. All right, let me get over here where I can share screen. All right. Party at the Moon Tower. Chapter 7, here we go. If you absolutely need a religion, there is one that is as close as it absolutely can get, but it is beyond your reach. They do not advertise. You will not know who they are, and they do not take in converts. You have to be born into a family who is practicing the religion, and there are less than 500,000 of them in the whole world. That's kind of ironic, that 500,000 George Guidestones. They claim to be successive incarnations dating all the way back to a group of people called the Children of Light in Atlantis. These are the Druze. The Druze have 7 commandments. Number 1, a truthful tongue is the greatest virtue. Ain't that the truth? Cultivation and protection of other Druze brethren. Number 3, excision of fallacies and falsehoods. Number 4, rejection of villains and aggressors. Who you telling? Number 5, adoration of God. Number 6, cheerful acceptance of all that comes from God. Number 7, spontaneous acceptance of God's will. Reincarnation and a gradual advancement of the soul to a point in time where we will escape from physical entrapment in successive bodies is central to their belief. The Children of Light in Atlantis were the followers of the Law of One. This sect in Atlantis spoke the language of light and taught the oneness of our souls with the rest of creation. They knew Atlantis was going to be destroyed and left for Egypt before it happened. They took their knowledge of a higher society with them. The destruction of Atlantis happened over several time periods from 74,000 years ago to the last and final destruction of Atlantis, which happened about 10,000 years ago. Therefore, this religion of the Druze has been around in Europe, Africa, and the New World since then. Are you ready to start shifting gears on your journey? If you're not, that's okay. But if you are, that is okay also. You are the one with the foot on the accelerator and who writes the schedule. Do not worry, things usually turn out the way it is supposed to be. We all have to start the conscious effort somewhere. It is usually done by making a decision to start reading and studying information and knowledge of higher vibration. From there on, the information and knowledge coming from the universal consciousness will seek us out and find it easier and easier to emerge into conscious understanding. The church has created a God outside and separate from us. What if it was true what it says in several holy books, as well as in the Bible in Luke 17 through 21? The kingdom of heaven is within you, and in Psalms 82:6 and other places in which it states you are gods. Do you also remember the master said, these things that I do, you can do and more? Could it be that we are gods and God's kingdom is with us in our mind and we can heal the sick, create abundance from nothing, and manifest whatever your mind conceives in your life? You're damn right. Interesting thought, isn't it? Hang on to that question until you're done reading this book. Then you can answer it. If you start thinking in these terms, the whole existence changes. This is exciting. By the time you are done reading this book, you will answer all these questions for yourself. You will have knowledge extremely few people have because it is your time to expand beyond the physical. A mind is like a parachute. It doesn't work very well if it is not open. So keep an open mind. Why do we keep giving God credit when something good happens and blame us when something bad happens? Or worse yet, believe that God got mad at you. What is the common denominator in everything that happens to you? You. You are there. You do it. See it, hear it, know it. Let yourself shine. Take responsibility for whatever happens to you, good or bad. It came from your mind. You drew it by the way you think, act, speak, and interact with universal consciousness. The church has been scaring us with the devil and evil since its inception. Could it be that good and evil are two sides of the same coin? Maybe both are an expression of the universal Father's love, and we are the ones who decide whether to block it and experience evil or allow love to flow through us and have good. Go within in meditation and ask the question. You may find that one side that is good is the expression of the presence of the universal unconditional love. The other side that is evil is the expression of lack, absence of love, in which the condition, the subconscious programming of the ego has free reins to create on its own. The whole universe is made up of this higher vibration of consciousness, being love. If love is blocked by the subconscious programming and the conscious mind, it cannot reach all the way through to the conscious understanding and into the physical expression, where you can create wonderful things with it. When this happens, the good things that normally happens when you have love in your life do not show up or go away. Then what we do, it is hard to stop the world and get off, even though there are times when we would want to. Even if we could, it would not work anyway. Creation and manifestation is constant. It will follow your mind wherever it goes. You will always be manifesting things into your life. Even when you're trying to do absolutely nothing, you're still manifesting. Nothing new. By manifesting nothing new, all the old stuff that often is not very positive will have time to develop into bigger situations and scenarios to keep your mind busy. Entertain and strengthen your ego and keep your mind away from what is real, the spiritual. You will live the life you speak and think you deserve. Whatever you speak and claim can be yours. These claims are expressed with thought, words, and actions. In a mind-created universe, do not expect the universe to create things for you that have not been in your mind, visualized, verbalized, thought, or requested. The God in you can never give you what you think or subconsciously feel you are unworthy of or unwilling to give yourself. I said, dang. I mean, chapter 7 with the bang. Got any questions? Better ask them now. And I'd be surprised there ain't one question through this, because I mean, that right there is telling y'all, get up, stand up for your right. So, did you see the project talk about the coded message? No, I haven't seen that, Bridget Williams. The Sunbeam portal, yeah, I mean, that's a good possibility. I've thought that as well. Let's see if there's any more questions up through here. Looks like not. So I'm really surprised because, like I said, that chapter for me was like, bam. So anyway, I guess we'll keep going if there's no questions. All right, chapter 8. When you are only manifesting from conscious thought, the ego is in charge and creates the manifestation. The ego thrives on conflict, drama, controversy, poverty, publicity, but also success in business and politics, which would inflate the ego and whatever else distracts you from love and spiritual consciousness. The ego is a mind-created illusionary tool given energy by the subconscious mind. It never rests, and it is always fighting to survive and grow and become more powerful. Spiritual consciousness and ego is incompatible. Only one of them can dwell in your mind at the same time. And if you select to seek out and submerge yourself in spiritual consciousness, it will be your key to keeping the destructive ego away. Universal consciousness will also tell you that an indestructible, eternal, intelligent spark of life or soul has created this mind-created illusionary body in this hologram we call our life. This spark of life is on a spiritual journey to experience, play, learn, and grow while it is given an outwards perceived individuality. In its perception of individuality and its hunger to experience all there is, the soul also must experience negativity and evil in the mind-created hologram of our mind. The ego is its tool to make that happen. The soul is entirely spiritual, and in spiritual reality, there are only experiences, not so much good or evil. Since the ego is so important in our life, it is appropriate to go a little deeper into this concept. Spiritually, the ego is kind of our ball and chain around our leg. It is a most misunderstood concept. We do feel, see, and hear the effects of it. On the surface, it's an obedient servant. The conscious mind is all you're aware of. In order for the ego to flourish and be strong, it must be fed. It is fed through outside self-inflating stimuli and continues running subconscious mind programs bobbling to the surface all the time in your head. These subconscious mind programs manifest themselves as a victim solidifying and self-inflating private conversations in your conscious mind. Having the feeling of always being right and complaining about whatever is one of its favorite things to do. Kent Nichols texting me in the middle of my show. Complaining aloud or just in your thoughts makes no difference to your ego. For most people, complaining is the ego's most powerful fuel, besides being right, and everyone else being wrong. So what do? We starve it for fuel. The best way to start undermining the ego is to start ignoring other people's ego. Man, I'm struggling with that one. It is less personal to your ego, and it starts to dissolve your ego from within, without it noticing. Non-reaction to other people's ego is not a sign of weakness, but a sign of strength. Ego is a subconscious creation with its root in the soul essence. The soul is not ego, but the ego is seated in the soul by only one innocent quality: the soul's hunger for knowledge and experiences. Thus, the soul will encourage the subconscious and the conscious minds to explore every environment it is submerged into. So the ego is intended to be a tool for the subconscious mind, for the benefit of the soul. Mostly, it ends up being to the detriment of the soul's spiritual growth and progress. When an ego-created thought bubbles up into your conscious mind, see if you can catch the thought before it is reacted on by action. Try to ignore it. When you do, you are in control of the ego, and the ego will slowly give up and go away. Still, always be on the lookout for its surface. It is always lurking around the corner, looking for a weak moment to jump in the middle of your stuff and start dominating again. With the ego out of the way, you have cleared the path for universal consciousness to speak to you without interruptions. Even if the ego is out of the way only periods of time, the path to the universal consciousness can be clear during that time. So is there a moral to the ego story? There are many. Just remember, the ego is not you, and whatever you fight, you are giving power and energy to, and you will strengthen it. It is much better outthinking the enemy than outfighting it. In this case, outthinking means more of an absence of thought through meditation and allowing for the universal consciousness to erase the harmful subconscious mind programs. All right, we'll pause there for a minute. Look back through text. Yeah, that one's kind of spoke to me. I don't know if it's the empath in me or what, but like, I just feel like the protector, especially if I see people getting on my friends or, my family, like, I guess, no, that definitely is the ego, because I want to stand up for them, so that's something I've really got to work on. And I'm actually doing much better, because I could have come on here and I could have shown my ass tonight, to be honest with you, but I chose not to. I chose to take the higher road. So anyway, is there any questions from that chapter? David Castle, train my ego to laugh instead of getting angry. That's great, buddy. That's the way to do it. Ego is the stinking thinking part that never shuts up. Yeah, you're right, Susan. You know, I mean, ego is there to protect us as well. You know, I mean, so it's not all bad, but when you're trying to, I guess, when you're thinking and trying to come from a rational place and then manifesting, the ego cannot be involved at all. I do know that. So, Jesse McCartney, your age is just a number. Spiritually, we're all even keel. So, anyway, so what does that? Yes, what does that mean? What does what mean? Sorry, I must have missed it. Bridget, I think we all fight with our ego. I mean, you know, God, look at all the programming we've had nonstop, still to this day. I mean, anything that you think is your life, like as far as when you go out and go to work, the family, the blah, 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 the 3D reality, that's all ego related. Getting into the fourth and fifth dimension, the ego, you got to drop it, period. So, and you know, this is just from what do I know? I'm just telling you from my experience. So, all right. So, anyway, I guess we'll roll on to chapter 9. Yeah, if y'all hadn't seen the music video today from, it's pretty good. It's called Warrior People from Nako and Medicine for the People. Of course, it got a thumbs down, but I know who's showing me that love, so it's all good. Anyway, let's get on to chapter 9. Let's get it. As the soul experiences and learns, it will grow in spiritual capacity until it is able to join back together with the universal Father in this great sea of light. Some would call it heaven. When the soul rejoins the great sea of light, it will regain the consciousness of the oneness and spiritual unity with the universal Father. And real quick, let me add, I think it was Bridget that pointed out, or somebody, no, maybe it wasn't Bridget. Somebody pointed out that this guy didn't really bring in the feminine aspect as well. And that's something I would maybe like to cover on Trendy of Truth or something with that. So I appreciate you bringing that to light. You know, I'd noticed that as well, but so we'll try to cover the feminine aspect when we get into it on Trendy of Truth. But anyway, let's get back to it. Where was it? Okay. Our true self is a universal consciousness. It is just that our conscious and subconscious minds are blocking the channel for free communication with the universal consciousness. This is what the book is all about, how to open up this two-way channel to the universal consciousness. It is theoretically impossible to be disconnected from the universal consciousness or God, because our physical part, mental part, and spiritual part was created by this universal consciousness. But for most people, the connection is blocked from conscious understanding by the constant activity in the conscious and subconscious mind. An important thing to remember is that it is not your body which has a soul. It is the soul who has created and temporarily taken on a mind-created illusionary physical body, and it will use it until it quits functioning or dies. And the soul will create a new body to run around in for a while if it is so decided. The soul will be born again into a new life learning situation with new experiences, lessons, and games to play. This is called reincarnation. If all the overwhelming evidence for the existence of reincarnation had been taken into a court of law and presented before a jury, there would have been a hanging a long time ago. We may ask, what in the world would be the purpose of creating an illusionary mind-created hologram for us physical beings to live in? I know you have had this question before, stated differently. What is the meaning of life? To understand the answer, we need higher conscious thinking. We are not used to that. There is no one in the government and religious sanctioned education system to learn this from. It can only be learned from studying a book of the higher consciousness like this one, or from someone who is doing it. The most important purpose of the illusion is to teach us love. From the lessons learned by that, the soul gets to experience love in the physical, mental, and spiritual levels of existence, which it has never been able to do before. It only had the experience of spiritual love in eternal bliss in the great sea of light. Its existence in the illusion will be broaden its understanding of creation and add to it spiritual capacity. Even though we are living in a physical illusion, it has a spiritual counterpart and spiritual value attached to it. The physical existence was created in the illusion, and there is a record of it created in a mirrored higher vibration of the illusion. That is the Akashic Library, or sometimes called the Akashic Records. That is where the superconscious mind often goes to retrieve information, and all for the benefit of the soul. The Akashic Records are still part of the illusion and fueled by your mind. It is only recording illusionary material. Every level of existence has its own hall of records. Everything in the universe and all the other universes is an expression of the consciousness of the Universal Father, and so are we. We are part of the Universal Father, the creation wide, intelligent source of all there is. The soul, spark of life, originated with the Universal Father in the great sea of light. It is made of the same love energy as the Universal Father. It has created the capacity, intelligence, and resources of the great sea of light by drawing its intelligent, creative energy down into the physical reality and slowing its vibration to match your emotionally visualized requests created in your mind. Technically, your mind is what is bringing what you are asking into the physical, but it has to go through a scientific, physical, creative process in order for it to be part of your hologram in everyday life. In order for you to be able to see it in your hologram, your three minds have to be involved in its manifestation process. Read this again, okay? In order for you to be able to see it in your hologram, your three minds have to be involved in its manifestation process. And again, we are often the ones who create our biggest stumbling blocks. They may be something to Marianne Williamson's quote in A Return to Life. Our deepest fear is not that we are inadequate, but that we are powerful beyond measure. Hallelujah. Therefore, we are creators in our own reality. We are creator gods. There are creator gods on every level of existence and vibration. We do most of our creations on the physical level of existence. We have to use the words creation and creator loosely here because we are more so summonizing it or manifesting it from the universal storehouse of creative, intelligent thought energy, where everything just is. I've said that before, it just is, just like the God, this universal, how there is no answer. It just is. Everything that was ever created, manifested, or thought of is there in the present, now as a potential for creations, ready for you to draw on. I know this gets complicated and is difficult to wrap our heads around because there is no physical language which has the vocabulary adequate to explain it. In our life and surroundings, we manifest to the level of our minds can accept. According to our spiritual understanding, in harmonious unity with universal consciousness, and to the degree we are able to remove the blocks and barriers in our conscious and subconscious mind. I will use the word manifest from now on, even though many will resonate better with create. Both are correct, with one slightly better. That is why I introduced both. The quality and quantity of our manifestations measured by physical standards is dependent on the amount of love thrown through our mind and into our life. Love is the substance of great sea of light, our home, from which everything is made. We are just manifesting more physical stuff from a different aspect of ourselves that we are not normally thinking of or able to see. Just talking about religion, God or universal consciousness, or expressing a simple verbal wish does very little for you. That is not the language used in spiritual existence. The Bible tells you some of what to say, but not how to say it. You may want to check into what Moses wrote about how to pray and get results every time. He said, go in your chamber, go within. Know what you want, send a clear message, do not waffle. See it in your heart, visualize it. Heart and mind meant the same thing at the same time. Feel it in your heart like it's already yours, like you've already got it. Speak it aloud with emotion so the tears flow. Emotion is the carrier of thought. Know it is yours. Have conviction of its fulfillment. Leave it to God. Let go and allow for it to happen. And yes, there are 12 books about Moses, of which number 11 and 12 cannot be found anywhere. I have tried. Except for at the Vatican Archive Library, and they will not let you see it. I have books 1 through 10. There is some interesting stuff in there, so I can see why the Vatican will not let you see it. The spiritual reality is different. Action, vivid visualized images with emotion, love, and fondness of heart in pursuit of universal consciousness will bring you closer to the vibration of the Universal Father, which is already part of our complete being. It is available to supply us with everything we need on our physical, mental, and spiritual journey through this illusionary existence we call our life. When we fully realize our true identity as not only a certified public accountant, or attorney, or pilot, but an infinite capable spiritual being sprung from the same source as the universal consciousness, from where you were created and to whom unlimited access to consciousness, knowledge, love, wisdom, and creative intelligence is given, you will have no more limitations. Yes, I know what some of you are thinking. Do not try to reason spiritual science with physical conscious thinking. You need higher consciousness thinking for that. That you will develop through meditation and being open to free flow of love, spiritual intelligence, and creative energy. Does anyone remember the mustard seed story in the Bible, or what was said? With God, all things are possible. How far-reaching are you able to let your mind accept the concept of all things? However far you let your mind run with this one is the limit of your capability or manifesting. Think on this. In a mind-created universe, is it starting to make sense? And there is the mental physical principle well known to people who have done brainstorming. This principle unveils the power of the mind. It goes as, when two or more minds are united in harmony, they create a third mind, which has the potential mind power of the two or more of them multiplied by each other. What do you think could be created if you could brainstorm with the universal consciousness, the mind of God? That is what the universal consciousness is all about. Wisdom, creation, manifestation. And you are already part of it. It's within you. All you have to do is remove the barriers. Chatter in your conscious mind, the unwanted continues running distracting and harmful subconscious mind programs, and open yourself up for a two-way communication with the universal consciousness. When you do, your existence will change. I keep mentioning the universal consciousness. Who you telling? God, I get tongue-tied every time I say it. So what is that? The whole universe and all of its existence is interconnected through an intelligent, non-physical sea of energy. This is used as communication and delivery system for spiritual knowledge and creative, intelligent energy by the universal consciousness. This sea of energy is part of the universal consciousness. Actually, it is, which again is the only one wave particle that is multiplied everywhere in all of its existence at the same time. Therefore, communication from one end of the universe to the other is instantaneous. Being a commercial pilot, paralegal, author, and inventor, blah, 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 and I have a very analytical mind. I was used to think in terms of physical science, concepts, and ideas, and this was hard for me to understand. I kept questioning things, but I also accepted that there are many things I do not understand. When something came through to me that sounded just outrageous, I accepted it for what it was without understanding it and wrote it down for later contemplation. When my head got stuck on something, I kept reminding myself, hey, do you remember the mustard seed story? And with God, all things are possible. Then I would wonder how far all things would really go. To me, it came down to one thing. In a spiritual reality of universal thought, there are no limitations. Absolutely anything can be done and thought into existence in this holographic world we have created. I still do not understand all that, but I could accept it. I am not sure there is actually a definition for universal consciousness, but it is the total storehouse of memory and mind capacity of your mind, the mind of all other creatures or creatures in all of existence, and the combined storehouse of memory, knowledge, and wisdom of the universal Father, Source, God, the universal consciousness, and all of it rolled into one because it is one, as are we. Okay, shoo, that was a long one. Got any questions thus far? Let me scroll up here through chat. I hope you're enjoying this. Sure, I tell you what, there's a lot of tongue twisters in here. Like, I don't think I've ever seen consciousness this many times in my life. Seems people are enjoying. Shoo, I need a drink bad. All righty. The mustard seed was always my standby. There's Big Al. What's going on? What's going on, Shauna D? Welcome. Nothing is impossible. Nothing has to be a certain way. Old motto I invented for myself. Good for you, Loud Star. There is no limitations. We set these limitations upon ourselves with the constant programming they've been shoving up our ass our whole lives. So, as much as it would be easy just to blame them, it's our fault. Of course, we weren't educated enough to know, but really, most of us walk around with our heads up our hind end anyway, and just kind of take everything as it is. That's why my motto now: question everything, and I mean everything. So anyway, get off high horse. Let's see. Any took turns reading chapters. What should have a guest on? David, I thought about that actually. I thought about having a guest on tonight. I just about asked Trina or Brian just to help me take questions and things like that. And I may do that in the future, really, first few, I'm kind of forcing myself out of my comfort zone to do this, many of y'all know I don't like being on camera anyway. And that really, I like getting people together and having different minds mesh. And that was my whole thing of wanting to start a channel. But it was also a security blanket for me because I hate being on camera, and so it was helpful to have other people. So this is really forcing me out of my comfort zone. So, but I would like to do that. It's a good recommendation. Yeah, I'm gonna wet the whistle again. Bridget Williams, why is it that we can't seem to do these miracles that Jesus tells us? Honey, you can. You just think about it. We're really on baby fresh legs right now with this understanding. And truly, the more you start believing in yourself, and it's really practice makes perfect, the more you try to work with anything, and just sitting and thinking and talking about it isn't practicing. I'm talking about actually putting it into practice. And it's really just about pushing yourself outside of your comfort zone and pushing your limits. That's, like I said, that's something that we're still working on. I'm happy to say, once I started listening and believing in myself, that was my biggest hurdle. I amaze myself every day, truly. So try to walk in it like that with, we've been under constant programming our whole lives. But I promise you, once you buy in and believe and trust in yourself, and that trust in yourself, it'll happen. So, okay, let me see if there's any questions, and I'll keep going. Ken, I got your text right there in the middle of the show. Good to see you, buddy. Yeah, you're right, Lost. Everyone possesses the mind of God, and a hologram, a tiny piece of it contains the whole. And see, that's the thing I was talking about the other night. In a hologram universe, the past, the present, and the future is all happening simultaneously. And that's how we can live on these different timelines And that's like I was talking about what that vision that I had the other night. That's just a possible scenario. That's just a possible timeline. I'm not saying that's happening. I don't think it'll happen. I think we can avert that, but I think that's what they're going to throw at us. So, all right, let's see. Well, thank you, everybody. Like I said, I hate being on camera. Okay. There's Jamie Healer. Good to see you. All right. Y'all ready to keep rolling? Well, it's only 20. Okay. Here we go then. Chapter 10. Diez. Any attempt to reason and consciously understand universal consciousness and our part of it with your conscious mind and five senses of logic is useless. Still, it is possible for the conscious mind to develop an understanding of it in concept. This understanding must come from the universal consciousness. If you were to try to explain the universal consciousness after you have gained as much conscious knowledge as possible, turn within and listen for the words to flow up to your conscious mind. The universal consciousness will fill some of the blanks you may have. Words are too limiting to use. See, okay, that's why it okay, sorry, it just a flash. That's why it comes through like visions and things, and because words are limitations. Okay. Information can come in volumes, clusters, or flashes of insight. Suddenly it shows up in your mind as quick as a bullet with full understanding. Yeah. But you may not have the words to describe it. When this information comes, it is often allowed or followed with emotion. Yeah. The emotion gives you an indication of its source, love, God. It is an incredible experience for the physical senses when it happens. Indeed, it is. To communicate well with the universal consciousness, we have to remove the blocks and limitations in the conscious and subconscious mind. The human consciousness can be educated and trained to get out of the way and open up for the free flow of the universal consciousness up to your conscious mind. This is done with different and new understandings, which will become new mind programs. These understandings and mind programs are laid over the old erroneous ones and will become the predominant reference for the combined mind. This can be simple. The subconscious mind will do whatever is told. Speak to it with colorful, visualized conviction in meditation. Tell it to be continuously open for communication from the universal consciousness and to deliver it to consciousness understanding in its complete form. Your subconscious mind holds the long-term memory of often limiting thoughts and experiences that are the computer programs. See there, Bridget? Responsible for running thoughts, character, beliefs, actions, heartbeat, breathing, and the internal systems of your body. It is also the home of the ego. This pool of stagnation and beliefs of limitations must be removed from access to the conscious mind and thought. This is accomplished when you lay positive thoughts, beliefs, speech, and actions on top of the erroneous ones and feed it with love. Love will transmute negative programming, so it is eliminated. The lower vibratory programming must be instructed and trained to stay out of the way of the spiritual inspiration and universal consciousness. That is where it starts. Then when you flood the mind with love, the erroneous thoughts and mind programmings will be transmuted to pure light and dissipate. You start flooding your mind with love by thinking very lovingly of something or someone and repeat thinking in your mind, I love you, I love you, I love you. This is explained better later in the book in section 2. Once the door to the conscious mind is slightly open, it will keep opening more and more if you keep pushing on it. See, Bridget asking you, you'll get the answer. More and more spiritual knowledge and truth will be seeping through from the universal consciousness, as long as you are asking for it. There is no new truth. There is only better access to the truth, which already exists. The rate of your growth is mostly proportional to your desire and the amount of distractions you allow. Your conscious door will open up to the point of where your conscious humanhood disappears. At will, you will become universal consciousness. At that point, you may come and go in human existence as you please. That is also when the physical body is no longer needed, but it is there for you when you would need it. This state of mind is called illumination. Your history does not speak of much of these things because it does not serve the purpose of the ones writing history. In ancient writings, including the Bible, Veda, and others, and some new ones, there are many accounts of people who have left the physical reality and took their physical body with them. Actually, since we are all mind, they just converted the thought energy in the physical holographic body image to a higher frequency and joined with it. Holy shit. Let me read that again, folks. And oh, wow. Okay. Whew. Since we are all mind, they just converted the thought energy in the physical holographic body image to a higher frequency and joined with it. This is called ascension. The reason ascension is so difficult to understand and even believe is possible is that we keep thinking that our bodies are made of a real substance. They are not. It is all thought projections by our mind into a hologram. Thinking of it that way, the whole concept of ascension becomes manageable. Really, all we had to do is change our mind. So that's what we're doing, people. We're ascending. So maybe that is how the new earth, sorry, I'm getting off here a little bit, but maybe that is the new earth concept. And that is how, like, you know, they say that the ones that don't wake up are going to go this way, and the enlightened ones are going to go this way, because we're literally going to be on a higher vibration where they can't even see us. Okay, sorry. That's just my thought. All right. Well, understand and believe with enough conviction that this hologram is no longer serving our purpose. We can change our mind and take our thought energy elsewhere. We can go on to a higher level of vibratory holographic existence where we continue our play and learn among more advanced learned entities. You may want to Google Ascension. Also get on the internet and research Babaji, Sai Baba, and some of the writings about the old ninja masters. Ninja means invisibility. Some of these ascended masters still come around sometimes to nudge the minds and thereby mankind in the right direction. If they see it is about to go off the cliff like they have done in 1986, when we were 2 Russian minutes away from an all-out nuclear war with Russia. There is a phenomenal story behind that. Everything you are, have, or do is a reflection of your state of mind. This includes conscious mind, subconscious mind, superconscious mind, and universal consciousness. All you are is mind. The quantity and quality of your individual world and life is a direct reflection of your thinking, mental practices, and the amount of interference and restrictions you allow to be imposed on the conscious and subconscious mind. Spiritual creation or manifestation in a physical reality is a wondrous process that cannot be fully understood by the conscious mind because of the lack of adequate physical language to express it. So it can fit into a conscious understanding. No wonder the Christians called it a miracle. The only language that could come even close to being able to explain the spiritual processes in the physical reality was Sanskrit. And that language has been abandoned for a very long time. We can still learn it, even though India is not using it anymore, except for partially in a few remote villages as a dialect. The workings of creation and manifestation feel like magic, but it is all according to its appropriate science. Life has many levels of consciousness to it. What is behind the curtain and out of the world of form is more complicated than we would think. Everything there ever was, is, and will be exists. It is sitting there in the soup of creation outside of time, waiting for us to interact with it. One facet of us, the spiritual part, is also outside of time, even though it plays with the concept of linear time to be able to have experiences and learn things not possible to learn in a spiritual reality outside of the concept of linear time. Without physical knowledge of it, we reach into this pool of knowledge, experiences, and resources and pull things from it, which we bring back into the world of form in the physical and apply it to our life learning experience. Let us visit the concept of coincidence. I have always said I do not believe in coincidences, but I did not know exactly why. I believe there was a purpose for all things that happen, good or bad, resulting in a learning experience. Yep. I did not understand where it all came from, why, and especially the ugly stuff that happens sometimes. Things seem to be much clearer now. The universal consciousness can be a good teacher. Let us say that before your spark of life created the physical body and was born, you had agreed to meet up with someone to work on something together. There is help behind the curtain to help you think the right thoughts. That will initiate action by both of you, so you will do the things necessary for the two of you to meet. It could be that both of you are driving down the road, you're given a flat tire, and the other person is behind you, and he gets the urge to stop and help. It could also be a situation where you're in the US, the other person is in Russia. You read the same trade journal, you make a written contribution to the journal, the other person reads it and likes it. From there on, the other person contacts you, and bingo, the introduction is done. The facts, distance, and details do not count. It will be arranged for, just like us all coming together. In your physical world, you are the creator. At the level of combined mind, you reach into the soup of creation and pull things to you, so your mind can create in the physical and in the hologram you are living. And then there are times when things happen that are so strange that it almost appears to be impossible. The planning behind the curtain can go wrong. Oh, yes. There are mistakes there also, though not very often. Strong minds with a highly developed dream full of excitement and emotion and intention can reach into the soup of creation and pull out something that was not meant to be theirs. If your will of intention is strong enough, you can bridge the barrier. The world is full of coincidences that are so strange that it should not have happened like this one. The comic strip Dennis the Menace was launched on March 12, 1951 by Hank Ketchum in the US. Just a few hours before, on the same day, David Law's brand new cartoon character, Dennis the Menace, was launched in the British comic magazine The Beano, issued number 452. His Dennis the Menace was a different looking cartoon character, but had the same mindset. These two men had never met. Dang, I didn't know that. Did not know each other, had no direct or indirect contact, but came up with the same idea, same name for the comic strip, launched on the same day on the opposite sides of the Atlantic. Both became very, very successful comic strips on their different contents. You know, we've talked about that before, like when we get these downloads and you'll see people come out with the same information on YouTube. We're all getting this information. It's just paying attention. Coincidence? I doubt it. I'm getting it had the same source, but originally it was meant for only one of them. It appears to me as Dennis the Menace was sitting in the soup of creation as the brainchild of one of the men. Somehow the other man drew it out of the soup of creation. That makes sense. And drew it to him also, and they both created it. Another explanation in some of these cases could be that one man's subconscious mind intercepted the other one's frequency of thought. At a subconscious level of mind, somewhere he liked it, went to the soup of creation and pulled it out so he could manifest it and make it real in his own reality of form. How about the two kids from Hamilton, Bermuda? In July of 1975, the 17-year-old Erskine Lawrence Eben was hit by a taxi and killed while he was riding his motorcycle in Bermuda. The previous year in July, his brother was killed driving the same moped on the same street. Ugh. His brother was also 17 when he was killed. It was the same taxi cab who killed both brothers. Holy cow. And it was the same driver. Not only that, it also had the same passenger. Coincidence? I doubt it. This is what happens when wires get crossed behind the curtain. Spiritual accidents also do happen. Often it has grave physical effects on the side of the curtain. There will be a day during your spiritual development life when you realize that there may be something else enjoying living your life with you or through you. You are not just entirely your physical self only. You will find that there is another intelligence with its own directing and creative powers, putting thoughts in your mind and involved in making decisions in your life, with and for you. When that realization comes, you will get the first glimpse of universal consciousness. This will turn out to be a tipping point for you. You will start to understand to a great extent this intelligence or universal consciousness is creating the experiences for you with your conscious involvement. All you do is to follow behind and walk into it, and it feels that it was all your idea and your decision. When you get from the point where you think you are totally in control of creating your own life to where you understand you have some help, you are over the hump. From there on, your learning process will grow a lot faster. You have now made conscious contact with the universal consciousness and will have glimpses of what may be written on the pages of your master plan of life if you ask to see it. You will soon realize that this spiritual intelligence can create a better life for you than you can physically do yourself. Things can kind of fall out of trees and onto your path from there on. The wise thing to do is allow for this spiritual intelligence to keep creating for you and do not getting in its way. Boy, ain't that the truth. If you're a salesman, people you never contacted will come to you to buy from you. If you're in a business, new customers will come from places you never would have thought. They just show up on your doorstep and you know you did nothing yourself to make it happen. You obviously had some help. It also almost looks as this help is paving the way for you and living your life with you sometimes. Surprises keep showing up one after another. Do not for a moment think it is just luck or coincidence. So then, who or what is this help? If it was a strange entity making these decisions and providing this help, it would kind of do away with the concept of free will, would it not? No, all this help comes from you. It is the higher consciousness of you, your higher self, so to say, the universal consciousness in you and flowing through you. Remember, we decided you are not just flesh, bones, and hangnails. It is the highest vibratory component of you, which is invisible when you look in the mirror. I guess that it is as simple and technical as I can put it. As you develop more spiritual capacity and knowledge, you will attain an intellectual understanding of the knowledge of truth. Truth is when you know and will be able to explain the concepts to others. Forget the details. There is no adequate language for it. It is an individual thing that each one person will have to experience and feel on their own. The effects of your efforts of study and practice using your newly gained spiritual capacity is becoming more obvious to others in the way you can carry yourself, your speech, your actions, your manifested good things that have shown up in your life. Still, it appears as you gained all this growth without any real effort on your part, the unseen took over and created in front of you, around you, and gave you the benefits of manifestations. It looks as if our physical and mental self is the mind-created outwards expression of the wishes of the soul here in the physical and mental reality. Since the physical body is only the expression of, or more correctly stated, similar to a holographic image resembling a higher vibratory body, we could actually say something else is living its life through us, even though we are the same. If we know the universal consciousness or God is living through us, we should be working to lift the veil and remove barriers in our minds so we can be the best we can honor the universal Father in us. This is hard to grasp when there is no separation, because by doing that, we would be honoring ourselves. Have we not also heard people say we have to love ourselves before we can truly love others? And that was my biggest hurdle, y'all. This is what becoming aware is. It is knowing yourself and your unity with the universal Father or consciousness. Can we really become consciously aware of the universal consciousness in us? Yes, we can, but not by engaging in conscious thought. It is more so the absence of conscious thought. In total meditative silence, it might stick its head up and say, hello, hello, here I am. Here's a brilliant revelation for you. Go do something with it. When that happens, you will know what the source of the revelation is. There will be no doubt in your mind. You will know. If you keep on meditating, this is not something that might happen. It will happen. For some people, this happens early in life. Other people are too busy playing the holographic game of business and life, so they never get around to looking for spiritual things until later in life. It does not matter. Whenever you start and stay with it, you will break through and get a glimpse of what is behind the curtain. It will be the same mind-blowing wow experience. Your time schedule in getting there is much dependent on spiritual experience accumulated by the soul, your hunger for enlightenment, how much you exercise the spiritual muscle, what you think about, as well as your present state of mind conditioning and the amount of interference you allow into your life. When you become aware, you will know that this ball of mud called Earth is not your real home. In fact, you will know it is not real at all. You will find it, and everything on it is only thought. You are just visiting in your own holographic illusion. You came here to play, learn, and grow. While you are here, you are given a suit of clothing that will eventually wear out. And when it quits functioning, you will be given a new one, if and when you choose so. With awareness comes a detachment from the physical reality. You know it's an illusion for training purposes. You're kind of in a space several sages over the past millennia referred to as to be in this world, but not of this world. We can sum it up as in knowing thyself, as someone else may have said 1,980 years ago. Chapter, shoo, that was a long one. So what y'all think about that? I think I'm gonna stop right there. Shoot, just got through a few today. See if we got any comments up there. Sorry, I tried to look up and follow along chat. It's hard doing and read at the same time, but I know you are talking amongst each other, and that's the most important thing. You know, I saw Bridget say something Atlantis. You know, a lot of people have thoughts of Atlantis. She used to talk to Trina sometimes. She has memories of Atlantis. Well, thank you very much, Wardruna Valgis. Welcome. Let's see. Looks like no questions. Cool. Well, I'm glad y'all are enjoying it. Wow, I can't believe this many showed up. So, let's see. Tomorrow night, I know that I was going to do Sunday night. I was supposed to do the Simpsons predictions, and so tomorrow night I'm going to be doing that, and Trina's going to be joining me for that. So Simpsons predictions will be tomorrow. I'll be taking Wednesday off. May have something Thursday. I'm not sure. I'm trying to get something in the works for Friday. See if maybe Brian and David Noel want to join. So Brian, I know you're still here in chat. Give me a shout. Let me know if you're interested in doing Friday night. I've sent David an email. Folks, I want you to know, you have questions, Jesse will ask. Go ahead. Cheesesteak start over. I was like, buddy, you're gonna have to rewind. There's too many tongue twisters to read that over with. I swear I've never said consciousness so many times in my life. Oh, I was gonna say something that threw me off. All right. Yeah, folks, this now that's why I'm so glad I'm continuing this. And to be honest with you, I don't think this could have started at a better time with all this stuff going on. You know, this gives you more reason, and you know, maybe you'll hear some things in here that'll spark and answer some questions for you. But you know, like I was talking about, even if the internet does go down, look at it as a blessing, you know, because there's so many distractions, and include myself, these computers, phones, and all that. You know, you could look at that as a time to learn and grow spiritually, and there's don't feed in any more fear or negative, because there's enough of that going on right now. So let's get out there and kill everybody with kindness. And I do want to say, I know y'all, none of y'all know this woman, but this girl I used to work with here in Kingsport, and she runs a hot dog cart now. And I know most of y'all don't eat hot dogs and things like that, but you know, they've closed down all the schools and stuff. And let me tell you, I mean, this girl, you know, she makes a living, and that's about it. You know, no extra frills, nothing like that. She was out there all day today giving away free food and stuff to all the kids, but that weren't in school to get food. So that's things like that. That's what we need to be doing, folks. Get out there and show some unconditional love, because it's almost making me want to cry. So on that note, folks, all I can say is spread a little love, because I love you all unconditionally. Be the frequency you want to receive. Have a good night.